Amazon, you awake?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Amazon, give us a joke.
How do you get a barber to cross the road? Just yell, "Come over here."
Yeah, I don't think that'll work. Maybe. All right, Amazon. Amazon, flash briefing.
Jamie, here's the latest from your flash briefing. In NPR News. Live from NPR News, I'm Janine Herbst. Stocks opened higher this morning as the Labor Department reported stronger than expected job gains for October. NPR's Scott Horsley reports the Dow jumped more than 200 points in early trading.
U.S. employers added 261,000 jobs last month, more than analysts had expected, but fewer than the month before. September's job gains were revised sharply upwards. Many of the new jobs are on the service side of the economy. Construction companies, which are particularly sensitive to rising interest rates, added only 1,000 jobs last month, down from 22,000 the month before.
Yeah,
the unemployment rate inched up in October to 3.7%. Those rates calculated from a separate survey, which actually showed a drop in jobs last month. Average wages in October were up 4.7% from a year ago. Wage gains have softened somewhat, which could ease upward pressure on inflation. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
President Biden will be stumping for Democratic candidates today in California and Illinois, with the congressional midterm campaigns in their final days. NPR's Asma Khalid says Election Day is next Tuesday.
The president is delivering remarks at a tech company in Southern California that will benefit from the passage of the CHIPS Act. That's the bill Congress passed this summer to boost semiconductor manufacturing in the U.S. He'll join Congressman Mike Levin, a Democrat who's running in a tight race for re-election. Later, the president flies to Chicago, where he'll participate in a political reception. The White House has dismissed questions about why the president is not traveling more to competitive states in these final days. The White House insists the president's message is carried beyond state borders and pointed out various officials, such as the First Lady and the Vice President, are campaigning in other states. Asma Khalid, NPR News, traveling with the president.
In Iran, crowds gathered to mark the anniversary of the 1979 storming of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. NPR's Peter Kenyon reports the ceremonies come at a difficult time for a government that's been rocked by nationwide protests.
Crowds in Tehran chanted, "God is greater," as they marked the day 43 years ago when Iranians stormed the American embassy, which eventually led to a cleric-led government assuming power. The anniversary comes as Iran's hardline government has been shaken by weeks of anti-regime demonstrations, sparked by the death of a young woman in police custody after she was detained for alleged improper attire. Iran's president gave a speech in which he addressed U.S. President Joe Biden, saying, quote, "I am telling Biden that Iran was freed 43 years ago." Thursday, Biden had told supporters, quote, "Don't worry, we're going to free Iran." Peter Kenyon, NPR News, Istanbul.
Wall Street is trading higher at this hour. The Dow is up 303 points. It's up nearly 1%. The Nasdaq is up 1% at a gain of 101 points. This is NPR News.
We know you need
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband Paul is out of the hospital. 82-year-old who suffered a fractured skull and damage to his arm in a hammer attack in his home underwent surgery to treat his injuries late last week. Prosecutors say 42-year-old David DePape broke into the Pelosi San Francisco home before threatening both Paul and Nancy Pelosi. The speaker was not in town at the time of the attack. DePape, who has another court hearing today, is facing a number of charges, including attempted murder and attempted kidnapping. The Republican chairman of Arizona's largest county, Maricopa County, says there will be consequences for those who try to disrupt voting or intimidate poll workers. NPR's Kirk Sigler reports officials in Phoenix say dangerous conspiracy theories are also spreading online about how votes are cast and counted.
Maricopa County Board of Supervisors Chairman Bill Gates told reporters that democracy is fragile right now. His comments follow two federal lawsuits alleging voter intimidation in the Phoenix area, where in some cases armed people dressed in fatigues have been seen near ballot drop boxes.
If there's anyone out there who intends to disrupt this election over the next 6 days, it's going to be responded to very strongly by those of us here at the county and by our partners and other law enforcement
After the 2020 election, armed militants turned up outside the Maricopa County voting headquarters protesting President Biden's win. Some later stormed the U.S. Capitol during the January 6th insurrection. Kirk Siegler, NPR News.
And that's some truth people
And I'm
don't want
Janine
to hear.
Herbst, and you're listening to NPR News.
They want to have a reason.
Hey, it's Valentin Arablouei from NPR's
Hey,
Throughline
Amazon.
podcast.
Skip.
In NASA news, NASA will host a community town hall at 12 p.m. EDT on Friday, November 4th, followed by a media teleconference at 1 p.m. to discuss the findings and recommendations of a report by the Psyche Mission Independent Review Board. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station will conduct a series of U.S. spacewalks in November and December to install mounting hardware and a pair of rollout solar arrays to increase electrical power to support station operations and scientific research. NASA will host a media teleconference at 1 p.m. EST Wednesday, November 9th to discuss the hardware technology demonstrations and science experiments headed to the International Space Station aboard SpaceX's 26th commercial resupply mission for the agency.
They've been talking about that.
NASA will host a media teleconference at 12 p.m. EDT Thursday, November 3rd to discuss the status of its Artemis I flight test that will launch the Space Launch System, SLS, rocket from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The uncrewed mission will send the Orion spacecraft beyond the moon and back to Earth before future missions with crew.
Oh wait, wrong show.
NASA and commercial cargo provider Northrop Grumman are targeting 5:50 a.m. EST, Sunday, November 6th, for launch of the company's 18th resupply mission to the International Space Station. In weather. In Seattle, there's a wind advisory in effect Friday, November 4th from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. The current weather is 52 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today's forecast has rainy weather, with a high of 57 degrees and a low of 42 degrees.
Okay, Amazon.
From NASA.
Off. We're good. Thank you. Amazon, leave us with a joke.
What kind of socks does a pirate wear? Arr! Guile. By the way, I have a routine you might like. I can tell you the weather when you dismiss your alarm. Do you want to try it?
No.
No problem.
Jesus. Okay. What's today? November. Amazon. What's today? The 3rd?
It's Friday, November 4th.
4th. Oh, all right. Cool. Well, enjoy your day, everyone. Peace.